Hello, and thank you for watching this video. This is going to be the Q4 2022 financial predictions for Tesla. That is extremely late for me, but it's been a little bit of fun at work. So that's been one of the reasons why. So let's begin. So the numbers that we are getting here, we have the Model S and X at 17,147. The 3 and Y, we got about 388,000 for a total slightly over 405,000, which was pretty close to a 50% increase over last year. So I'm happy with that number for the full year. The Shanghai numbers were really good. They did drop off quite a bit in December, although there was some discussions about why and this and that regarding pricing and everything else. So we'll see what happens with that come January. The Tesla Energy, for the most part, I don't expect a lot of changes with solar. I don't think solar's a difficult spot for Tesla. They're having a lot of problems, I think, with their installations. So that's going to be the big issue for them going forward here. And then the energy is just going off the hook. I'm predicting a minor increase this year, or this quarter, but I think you're going to see that really start increasing. That's going to start improving the next item, which is their bottom line on that, their gross sales. So what we have here is the revenue. So auto revenue, I'm expecting a slight more, but I'm also looking at a decreasing revenue per car. I'm looking at it more closer to what was at the end of last year. This year, pretty high. I think they're starting to slow down, just principally because of China. China sales really dropped their items, and I think the revenue car is going to go down. It could stay up at 50,000 plus, but they were running out of orders by the end of the year, so I think they really were kind of short on vehicles, and I think they started discounting a little. They were discounting in Q4, so I can see them dropping that price. That revenue per car is going to drop down. Auto credits, again, it's dropping down, not because Tesla doesn't have enough vehicles for the credits. It's because the other car companies aren't selling vehicles. If you look at the data for the other automakers, nobody's increasing in sales. They're decreasing sales, which in turn means that they don't get as many ZEV credits. So yeah, it's impacting Tesla in that regard. It's kind of sad in that regard because that is free money for Tesla. It's how they built their factories. So that's what we got there, and then you got at the end I got energy having a slight increase again, just from a standpoint of more pricing power in that regard. Revenue other, I did increase that quite a bit from previous estimates, and that's principally because Q4 is Christmas season, and Tesla does have a store that provides them revenue. So I can see them getting some additional revenue out of that. And then gross revenue totals 23.5, which is pretty reasonable. So I'm pretty happy with that number. That's $23.5 billion. So the profit. So what's going to happen? I based the cost of the auto revenue on 71%. I think that's one of the reasons why Tesla slashed their prices, was because they were realizing that their pricing was too high. And they're facing a situation of, they didn't have enough demand at those prices, and also because of the rebates coming in force, back and forth. So that was causing some sluggishness on the part of Tesla's Q4 sales. But I think the other issue was just their commodity prices are going down. So that's going to impact their ability. That's directly impacting, and plus the other aspect that both Austin and Berlin have been ramping pretty steadily, so their cost per vehicle is going to go down with those two factors operating a little better. And the fact that the head of Shanghai came over and started working with Fremont on getting their costs under control. So I think you can see that for this quarter. I think that's going to drop a little bit. And I got a 2.5% drop. I think that's pretty reasonable, given the fact that it went up almost 4% from quarter one to quarter two. I would also like to stress that Tesla has some difficulties ahead with the Cybertruck, and that's going to improve. That's going to increase their cost per car. On top of the fact that they did drop prices, so that's going to increase the cost per vehicle as well. But you're still talking 30%, almost 30% gross profit on each vehicle. You can't get much better than that in the auto industry. In fact, they're probably one of the highest ones in the auto industry outside maybe Ferrari. So you're really talking a pretty good profit margin there. Cost of revenue is still, for energy and others, roughly in line with their expenses, what they are selling that stuff for. But the energy will increase, or will decrease, because they do have every megapack that they're putting out there, they're getting several $1,000s in maintenance fees. So that should improve their revenue going forward. So we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, gross profit is $6.3 billion. That's my prediction there. So what's going to be the operating income? Well, you got R&D. I consider that's going to go up a little bit, just from a standpoint, it kind of bounces a little bit. But I think 825 is a reasonable number to go with. SG&A 975, which is roughly in line with what they've been running. I mean, you got about 500 million from quarter four of last year, which was of the stock-based compensation. So I think 975 is a reasonable number to work with. The major issue is, are they getting enough expenses taken care of? And I think they are. I think that's going to be the big thing for them going forward, is just keeping their SG&A down going forward. If they can do that, they should be in a pretty good position. So that gives them operating income of $4.5 billion, which is still pretty good. So now we got the share income. So share income, we're talking roughly $4 billion, $4.1 billion. I did calculate the income taxes probably this time. Last time I did not. So yeah, should be more accurate. Net income cost for subsidiaries, I do think that they're going to lose some additional money out of it. Granted, at the beginning of the year they made some money, but I think they're going to end up losing some money. It'd be nice if they actually make that a positive. That would be nice to see, but I don't think that's going to happen. Interest expenses, yeah, that's gains. We'll see what ends up happening with that. They are putting a lot more money into bonds, so that might improve their interest gains. So we'll see what happens with that. So EBITDA and EPS, the last chart. So what we have here is we have depreciation. So I got a little bit higher there, principally because of some impairment that's going to happen with Bitcoin. They do have, if I remember correctly, they do have a small holding left. So if they still have it, that'll be there. It was unfortunate that they sold it all, because I can imagine Bitcoin's going to go up here in the near future, but we'll see what happens. Maybe they're going to repurchase it again and do some smaller amounts and spread it out, which I wouldn't, instead of buying one big chunk like they did. That was kind of crazy. Net income at the end of the day is going to be about 4.5 billion, which means with a 3 million shares, you're talking about $1.43 per share. So if you forward that out, you're talking almost $6 per share for the year, which means you're talking roughly a if you were to ask me what would I want the stock price to be at, given the fact that they're still ramping and given the fact that they haven't even made the Cybertruck yet, I would say 80 to 120x will be appropriate given the sheer size of the pickup truck market and the number of vehicles they have waiting to be purchased. They have a lot of them on reservation. I think they're talking in the millions right now. So I can imagine that they'll be running a pretty high. If they can get those producing fast, they should be able to really improve their profit and their earnings potential. So that's why I would say you're talking roughly a $700 stock price right now. So this is what my guess will be. Somewhere around 700. Don't hold my feet to the fire because I would have to do a little more analysis on it. But yeah, I would say that would be pretty accurate. $1.43. Yeah. So additional prices, pricing the models. I have no problems with what they did with the lowering the pricing. That was a good decision. And as for Cybertruck, yeah, that's getting ready to go. They got the first casting machine in place. They haven't done any test runs yet. They're still getting it built, but Joe's videos have shown it, so I'm really happy about it. And that's Joe Tegmeyer. He's one of the drone pilots that's spinning around Tesla Austin. So if you're interested in more information, I'll be sitting on the chat for my Tesla weekend at the earnings call in an hour or so. So enjoy.